Appreciate everybody joining us here. And we're going to go to the phone lines. In a little while, we're going to take about a 15-minute break. We're going to put some radar shots on satellite. And we're going to get a little sandwich and something to eat. And something to eat and drink, a little Coke. I think Kyle needs a Coca-Cola over there or something. He's been working hard. And we appreciate you staying by and giving us updates. Anything new that we would have?
No, all streets are still passable, Martin, so we're looking great.
Good, fantastic. All right, let's go to the phone lines and hear from the public itself. And I just want to let, just a little technical thing, we got some lights out right here, so I'll let Josh know. It helps me see a little better, and he can maybe check that out. They're right under the desk, Josh, these little lights that come up right here. HTV, welcome to Bayou Time. You're on. Go ahead, please. Hello.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was wondering if you had any news about the King Charles Island.
About what now?
King Charles Island.
No, I do not, but I can, we can get somebody to maybe look into that for you.
Okay, because I have a friend of mine that's wanting to know if she was able to go home or not, because she lives on the Island Road.
Okay, I do know that the Island Road itself has pretty good amount of water coming over it, which we knew it would. I mean, during this southerly event. So, but most people have had pretty good warning to get off the island, and I know the Sheriff's Department has been over there urging people. So, but we definitely don't have anybody that's been reported as hurt or, you know, missing or anything of that nature. So if that eases your mind a little bit, everybody seems to be accounted for.
Right, because she wanted to know if they could go home or, you know, what's going on.
You mean go home to the island?
Yeah.
I wouldn't think so at this point. No.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. HTV, welcome aboard. You're on. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I want to find out, do y'all have any footage of Lower Dulac, where it's like where Coast Guard Road is in Hooper Lane?
Yeah, we are waiting some. Jason, don't we have Chris Matthew out there? Okay, we do have someone riding with Reggie Dupre, who's in charge of all the levees. So wherever they take us is where we're going to be bringing it back. And let me just ask Jason, what footage are we looking at now? Below, this is below the floodgate in Golden Meadow. So,
okay.
So look at all the debris and the boat, and then one lonely little pelican and one lonely person that just walked across the screen. But anyway, we're going to try to get you some shots from those areas, and we do have crews out, but we're very limited in some spots that we can get, so we're going to do our best for you, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thumbs you. HTV, welcome to the program. You're on. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I'm calling to give a thumbs up to Thibodeau. I had called and said that Louise Street was flooded out. Water was just about into my daughter's apartment. They barricaded each side of the street, got unblocked, according to what we can understand, because the street's not had any flooding since they've been out there. So I'm just hoping that everybody can get the same thing, but I'm wondering who's going to take care of this mess after the mess is done.
Well, I would assume that we always take care of the mess that's after it's done. Everybody's got to buckle up the chin strap, get to work, and as a community we got to take care of it. This is not an individual thing. This is a community event, and we have to take care of it. So that's one thing everybody's going to have to work together on.
Yeah, because some people's getting water and some people's not. So the one that don't have no water can go help the one that has the water.
Okay, well, I understand that, and we hope that everybody pitches in.
All righty, thank you.
Thank you.
You're doing a good job.
Well, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All righty.
And I just heard a loud noise over here. I was just wondering if a piece of equipment fell in the studio or something. I'm not sure what took place, but here we go. HTV, welcome to the program. Go ahead.
Thank you, Martin. I've been trying all morning to get in touch with y'all.
Yeah, we've been busy.
I live on Bouquet Street off of Texas Gulf Road.
Okay.
And I wanted to know what was the problem with them yesterday and before. They never closed the boat landing. I had to call them up for all that. and the water is just unbelievable. I got water in my yard, you know, it's real bad, and we got a drainage valve at the end of the street on Bouquet Street. I talked to Mr. Pete Lambert 2 or 3 times about it, asked him to put us a tidal gauge and clean the valve. No results, Martin, at all. And this is just unbelievable, because it's 1 inch or 2 inches in between the bayou and the little ditch that we got in front of our house, well, Little Bayou Blue, they really call it on Bouquet Street. You know, we could flood.
Right.
And nothing's been ever corrected. When Nolan Bergeron was there, he put a valve in the Ellen, the property when they had the sugar cane fields.
Yes.
And Nolan used to maintain that. And I keep calling him and telling him that valve's got to be closed when we get a hurricane or something. And I think they just went today to see if it was closed. But like I said, when Mr. Bergeron was the councilman, we ain't never had this kind of trouble.
Well, let me, I'll ask Reggie when he gets here. He's bringing our cameras to show some different locations and the phenomenon that we're
Well, like I say, if it comes on Texas Gulf Road, they have a site.
All right, well, I will ask him about that for sure. Thank you for calling.
Thank you, Martin.
Okay, bye-bye. So Texas Gulf Road, let me get another call. HTV, well, and we're looking at, while I get this next phone call, we're looking at shots, Jason. These are still outside the protection. We're still outside of the hurricane protection area, so I don't want everybody watching to get alarmed. This is outside hurricane protection areas, okay? HTV, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
You're on.
Yes, sir. I was calling to find out why they haven't had any curfews set or an alcohol ban in Terrebonne Parish. Because with Hurricane Gustav, we didn't have as much flooding, and we had alcohol bans and curfews and everything else.
That's a good question, and I have Sergeant Kyle Falk with the Houma Police Department, and I'm gonna hand that one off to him because he's law enforcement. I'm not, so let him answer that, okay?
Okay.
As far as the curfew ban's concerned, the curfew's concerned, we generally don't issue a curfew when we're not seeing a major event, such as a tropical storm or a major hurricane. We currently don't have any streets that are not passable inside the city limits. And as far as power outages and street light outages, everything is pretty much at a minimum right now. So we try not to restrict the flow of the community with people having to get out and take care of things. As far as the alcohol ban, I'd have to say that it pretty much goes hand in hand with the same thing as the curfew. So if you were looking at a major event, I know you, like you said earlier, you didn't see as much water for the major storm. We did have that curfew, but those were put in place for what we're expecting to occur. So I hope that answers your question somewhat.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye. All right, and there you can see law enforcement out there on certain roads and certain areas that always try, and we want to really give a thumbs up to the fire departments, volunteer fire departments, police, any personnel that go out of their way to make this a little easier. And we thought this storm was going to roll in and roll out, but it's just sitting there. And, no one really thought that would happen. Look at the winds kicking on St. Charles Street. These winds are coming pretty good.
It appears that it's changed directions as well, Martin, judging from the flags.
Well, yeah, maybe a little bit. I'm going to check it out in a second. What we're going to do, we're going to go to some radar shots. We are going to be off until 2 o'clock. We're going to come back at 2 o'clock. I need to give my crew a break. They need to get a sandwich. They need to get a Coke. And is he here? All right, yeah, well, before we do that, the sheriff has just arrived. So let's bring him on. That's important. And then we'll take a break and give everybody a break. But just to let you know, we are going to take a little break. We're not deserting you. We're coming right back. But I got to give my crew a little chance to stretch out a little bit. So let's bring the sheriff right on in. And he's familiar with the arena. And we got Earl Eues with OEP. He's right behind him. So we'll send them both in. How y'all doing today, gang?
Good, Martin. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Hey, Earl. How you doing?
Hey, Martin. Doing great. How are you?
Good.
Good.
All right. Well, let's bring in the sheriff, Vernon Bourgeois, and Earl Eues. director of all these emergency operations that are going on right now. Sheriff, we'll start with you. You've been in and around. What are you seeing? What are you feeling out there?
Well, I've been doing both. Been riding, been watching y'all when I'm stopping in places. A lot of places I stop, by the way, the TV's on. So
Well, that's a good thing.
You know,
We hope
I
that.
guarantee you're keeping people up to date, minute to minute, all day long. So that's a big plus. But and there's something that we've been wanting to tell the public, and I've noticed on the TV that you explain, and especially Kyle has been explaining how things work, like when people call and what Kyle does. But I thought it'd be important to show the other end of who receives Kyle's calls,
Right.
basically what happens
That's
and
a
how
good
this
idea.
flows and how this is done. Back in the day, it was done a whole different way.
Sure.
It used to be somebody just telling people what to do. But now there's a whole center. It's called Emergency Operations Center, and it's Earl's. And Earl, you can start if you want.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Martin, the public doesn't realize what happens in I guess you would call it the Emergency Operations Center, but it's actually mission control of what's going on within the parish. We have about 25 great employees and volunteers from the parish, government agencies and other agencies within the parish, they may be state, that come in there. They operate the center. I have what we call emergency support function managers. I have 18 of those. They sit at our command center. They each have laptops, telephones, and when the general public calls into our office, it goes into a call center that I have staffed with, depending on the number of calls I have, I can staff it up with at least 12 people. They'll take the calls. They go to a computer message system that was developed by our IT department here in Terrebonne Parish. They take that message, it's computerized, it's automatically sent to an ESF manager, whether it's communications, public works, public safety, the fire department, they send it to that manager. Once that manager receives that message, he or she reacts to that message and takes care of that issue. And that message stays open as long as there's an issue with it. Once it's completed, they close out that message and move on to the next one. The good thing about this message system is that the parish president, Michelle Clodet, or the parish manager, Al Leveron, they have access to this system. They can see every call that comes into the parish, what has been completed, what has been done on that mission, and those that are open and that need some action taken to them.
Yeah, and that's good in a way because you're right. In the fledgling days of HTV when we covered storms, we went to basically one person who was pretty much guessing as to what the heck was going on because it was all a lot hearsay. So you're saying now you got a command center. So if somebody calls in and says, we got a tree down on Savannah Road, that's routed to the person who takes care of the trees. So
That's exactly how it happens.
that's pretty neat. That keeps it efficient.
A lot
and
more
accountable,
faster,
doesn't it?
a lot more efficient, a lot more accountability is done. And really the accountability part, Martin, is about the reimbursement of funds if there's ever any. If it's not done in that order, you're not going to get reimbursed for whatever you spent to get that fixed or get it done. And that's the way it's done. And not just here, it's here in Baton Rouge and nationwide.
Right.
And that's the way it's got to get done. And I totally understand why. It's a very efficient way to do things.
So I got to say the communications has been tremendous through this. We've had Kyle sitting up here with Homer PD. Your guys have been out there and taking our camera crews to show people.
Right.
So they don't have to drive in it.
Yeah.
And then Earl, the communications has really stepped up. I mean, that's what people want.
Right.
They get scared when they don't know information.
And we realized that from Gustav. That was one of the lessons learned, was that we need to get information out to the public as quickly as possible. And I got two great guys sitting in there at my EOC now. They are my public information personnel. They are pushing information out on Twitter and Facebook and on the parish's website as it comes to our office. Now, as that call comes in, first it's verified that situation is going on, and then it's put out on Facebook and Twitter and the parish website so that people can get that information. And y'all monitor that information here also. Right. So what we're putting on there, you're taking off and repeating it back to the public, which is just great.
Well, let me ask you this, Earl. Now that we have it, we've sort of established what's being done with the information. What's the new information on this, and can we get a handle on this storm? A little hard, isn't it?
Well, it's been a tough situation for the Weather Service also. And that's one of the things that we do. Twice a day, we're on with the Weather Service out of Slidell, the National Weather Service, and also we have a daily conference call with the Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. Both of those conference calls involve the National Weather Service, giving us an update of what's going on. And it's been pretty tricky for them to let us know what's happening. Basically, that front hasn't come down and picked it up yet. But I did find out before I left the office today that it's moving at 8 miles an hour now.
Yeah.
So that means the front's picking it up and moving it out the way. And that's what we need to get this rainfall to stop.
Yeah, matter of fact, Jay, can we show that on the screen behind us? We did see a little bit, a shot a while ago, that if we could go to that general.
And we were very fortunate that yesterday we didn't have all these rain bands, so our drainage system and pumping systems were able to kind of catch up and drain the systems down. And now today we're getting the banding again.
Well, there you see it, Earl. What you're saying is absolutely correct. And Sheriff,
Yeah, we're north a lot.
yeah, you can see it, so it's moving.
Yeah.
Look at the circuit. Look, watch this little circulatory area just moving up north. So, and pretty soon, that's gonna change our winds. At least we'll get winds out the west, and then it'll start improving from that. But we just got to get these southern winds off our back and get this thing. But look, you could. And Kyle, I think you were correct a while ago when you said they shifted ever so slightly on those flags, which is true. And that's every time it shifts, it's better for us at this
I
stage.
was wondering why you were doubting me.
Oh, I don't ever doubt you, Sergeant Falk.
My glasses are stronger.
Martin, I want to go back to the communication aspect. You know, during Gustav, we had some issues getting the information out and actually kind of talking to everybody else because all the systems were down. Our office now, the Office of Emergency Preparedness, has backup after backup on communication. You know, we have voice over internet protocol telephones. We can move those phones somewhere else and get access to the outside world. We have 700 megahertz radio system. Every department in this parish has access to that 700 megahertz radio system. As long as it's up and running, we can have communication. We have the 800 megahertz system for the radios. We have backup phone systems. The majority of people use another major phone service in this area. We have a second phone service, cellular, that we can back up to in the event that we lose a major carrier.
You know, we learned some things. Just to let you know, look at the water dropping.
A bunch.
That water was on the Whaler.
Yeah.
Remember that, Sheriff? It was on the Whaler, and in about hour and a half, it's down roughly 6 inches.
I was thinking 6-8 inches. It looks lower than it was before.
Yeah, so that's a 6-inch drop in about an hour and a half, and I know that's in Golden Meadow. Charlotte Randolph is extremely happy to see it. Well, Michelle Claudia is also, because they go hand in hand, but that's why these cameras in these strategic locations are so important. It gives us a bird's eye view. But I got to say this, since Gustav, you're right. I think this whole parish has learned a lot, and it was always going to be a key, seeing another emergency come up the pipe. One was that river flooding, and that the communications was so solid.
You're right.
And you see everybody talking to everybody, and I see it in this, and I can't sit here and say that I don't see it. It's all over.
Yeah.
Look at the communications I've had on the set here for 3 days.
I agree.
It's unbelievable, and I think that's what makes people feel better. It may be bad news, but they still want to hear it if it's coming their way, and I think that was
it's accurate.
Right.
You know, there's no rumors and all that stuff.
And to touch on what Earl said, the equipment that his office currently has, Martin, when it comes, like what the sheriff said, as far as getting grants and funding back for the storm, it's all being tracked and put on computer-based equipment to where we can get the funds brought back to Terrebonne Parish for anything we spend it on,
All right, hold that thought. We have Brian Zarang with State Police. Hey, Brian, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Martin. Yourself?
Good, doing okay. I understand that you were working the gas situation by Bayou Blue in that corner by the Chevron station.
I got contact with our emergency service troopers that are on scene. The call came into the hotline about 11:30 this morning.
Okay.
And as it stands right now, not even a half a gallon actually leaked from those tanks.
Okay.
And ES&H is handling the cleanup. DEQ is also on the scene, along with Bayou Blue and Bayou King. No evacuation was needed, no road closures. There is no off-site protection that is needed. Everything was confined to the parking lot area. Basically what happened is they filled those tanks yesterday. And with the heavy rain and stuff and the water that we have, and the pressure against the tank caused the gas to rise.
Okay.
So there's going to be a strong smell in the area.
Right.
But there's no alarm as far as evacuation or any road closure or anything at this time.
Well, but that was quick. Y'all jumped on that pretty good. We appreciate that, Brian. Thank you so much.
Not a problem. Yeah, I was watching your show. I've been monitoring your channel most of the day because I'm on and off with Baton Rouge and everything else that's going on in the area. But we're making sure we stay on top of things. I just want to make sure I got the message to you so that you can spread it to the viewers that we do have it under control, and they are sending a truck down from reserve to offload those tanks as we speak.
Well, thank you so much, Brian. And I think the sheriff wanted to maybe, or Earl wanted to say something.
Yeah,
Again, that's communication.
Yeah, let me tell you how that happened.
Get accurate, up-to-date stuff.
We had a call come into our 911 center.
Right. I'm going to show you how
That call ended up into our command center. We turned that over to our emergency support function manager, 10 is what we call, which is for oil spills, hazardous material. That was the call to the hotline, which from our office went to the state police hotline to notify them what's going on over there.
And so that's good. So they get it. And Brian, y'all jumped on that pretty quickly.
Absolutely. And I got to give Earl and the sheriff and also Sergeant Falk, we know the communication we have between the agencies is unreal. I mean, it's a good working relationship we have here in the Troopsy area, and as you can see, we stay on top of things and work together so that the public is very much informed. And like Earl said, we want to make sure that the facts are given out. We don't want rumors to get started because with Facebook and some of that stuff, you can get the wrong information. So we want to make sure that the facts are given out before we put anything out.
Well, Brian, thank you so much for getting back with us that quick. We appreciate it.
You did a great job, Brian.
Yeah, good job. Thank you. And he's so right. I mean, golly, for Gustav, we had St. Francis blowing down, Vanderbilt was going.
Oh, yeah.
Everything. So
restaurants burned. Oh, yeah.
Yes, I mean, I'm impressed. I really am, and I've been doing this for a long time. It seems like both hands are working together, and it seems like, it's one thing if you don't learn from a past experience, but if you learn, you've done your job. Yeah. So that's a good thing. You need to be commended for that. So,
but Mark, we really wanted to tell you, and you knew, of course, we wanted the public to know how that happened. Like if somebody's, I'd say the sets of power lines we had this morning that were knocked down.
Right.
That's reported to us. That's reported. It's found true or false. That ends up getting reported at the end of the day from Earl to the governor's office. And after that, the governor's office reports it to Washington, D.C., and that's how it works. That's how it works. That's Emergency Operations Center right there. And each of those people, and some of them are double up, but each of those people have a position. And everything works in acronyms now, Mark. You know that. It's ESFs. And it's Emergency Support Functions is what those people do. And each of those people there have a function. They're not sitting there looking at a computer or playing on a computer or watching TV. They each have a function. Like one of those people took the call with the gas leak. Or one of those people took the call with the power line down. And each of them has a function, and each of them is specialized in what they do. Mm-hmm. Like ESF 1 is transportation. If somebody needs transportation somewhere, the call goes to that person. It's almost like wiggling your nose. Bing, it's done. And that's how it's done. ESF 2 is communications. There's a communication problem. It's sent to that person. Mm-hmm. It's fixed. It's taken care of.
And that's impressive. So communications-wise, I think we've come a long way in this parish.
Oh, extremely. And we've also learned because we're so, and I saw your power go out. Mm-hmm. When you're out here, we're so reliable now on electricity that you have to have your redundancy, just like you have your generator. Yeah. Many people have to have the redundancy, the generator that backs up the generator.
Right.
But that's something we have to do because we rely on our electrical power.
No doubt.
Without it, we lose our communication things. But there's 18 ESF functions, and every one of them covers something. It'll either happen prior, during, or after a fire or a storm or a hurricane or whatever it may be, and that's what that room is.
It's impressive looking. It looks like it's very well organized, and
it's like war rooms basically. If you look in places like that,
exactly.
And everybody in there has communications with the department. If you're in charge of the public works, you have a 700 megahertz radio that can talk to the actual public works department, and so communication is the key to get everything done. And the good thing though, Martin, is I don't know everything about public works. I don't know anything about the power system. But I have somebody in there, I have a manager in there that knows that system, that when that problem or comes in, it goes straight to him. He takes care of that issue. And they have the opportunity to make a decision. And if they can't make that decision, they have a branch manager they can go to. And those two people sit down and make that decision. Yeah. If they still can't make that decision, then they'll come to me, and all three of us will sit down and make that decision on something done. And I tell them a lot of times, no decision is the wrong decision. Yep. We have to make a decision.
Right.
And we have to
but
do it.
But you give them the liberty to make it.
Yeah. Well, there's also an ESF in there for resources support. If there's absolutely nobody in there that can do something, ESF 7 is emergency report. They got to do something with that problem.
Yeah.
There's an answer to almost everything.
Yeah.
It really is.
That's
if
our-
somebody loses their housing or whatever, there's a person there in charge of housing.
Okay.
That's
Same
a pic-
person in charge of shelters. You know.
That's a picture of our weather service that we subscribe to. So we're
Right.
constantly watching the weather system on a real-time basis. With this system, it's associated with the weather bug system.
Well, and that
So-
makes sense now, because when Mr. Claude is always on the desk up here, he's, even while he's talking, he's thumbing through his BlackBerry or his
That's
iPhone,
it.
whatever he
He's
has.
watching that.
Yeah, and he keeps looking at it. So it makes
Yeah.
more sense to me now, because, I won't dare say that's a rude thing in this time, because he's following everything that's going on.
Right.
Just like you just gave me some information that came through. We always looking for information right on the spot. And Kyle's been doing it all morning with the traffic stuff. So I'm telling you, it's been working pretty good, and we appreciate it for sure. So
Yep.
thank you all a bunch.
Well, thank you, Martin. We appreciate everything you do for our community, and we know a lot of people, the viewership is here, and you need to get the information, and we're trying to get you as much as we can on a timely basis that you can get it out to our citizens here.
Thank you all very much. What we're going to do, we are going to take a break. Right now, we're going to go to some satellite. It won't be for long, folks, I promise you. We're going to come right back and talk to the public. But once again, I got to get the crew just a little break. Let them stretch, let them yawn, and then we're going to come back in 15 or so minutes, back on the desk. So don't go away, but we'll leave you with some current satellite looping so that you can just see what's going on. We'll be right back. Or maybe some video. We'll roll some video in for you. So we'll be right back.